All right, let's dive into launching that dream business you've got brewing. We've got a ton of advice from entrepreneurs who've actually done it, built incredible companies. They're sharing their no-nonsense tips, so get ready for some serious aha moments.
It's interesting, these entrepreneurs, they all start with feeling,
Yeah.
not market gaps or niches. It all starts with a feeling.
Okay, so what does that look like in real life?
Well, one entrepreneur built one of the biggest agencies in all of Asia, even though they had, get this, 500 competitors.
Yeah.
500 competitors. And this person, they were obsessed with marketing. It wasn't even a job. It was their hobby. They loved it. And they teamed up with somebody whose skills were just like the perfect match.
So it's kind of like finding your business soulmate, someone who gets you and brings those different skills you need.
Totally. And that shared passion in those early days with the long hours and the setbacks, man, having someone who gets it by your side, that's everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of setbacks, these entrepreneurs, they kind of debunked the myth of the business plan. A mind map is the way to go, apparently.
Mind map, it's so much better because it lets you see your business grow organically. You start with your passion right there in the center. Then you branch out, explore different ways to make money, partners you could work with, marketing, and even potential problems. It's crazy. One entrepreneur even found a whole new business, a candy business, actually, just from mind mapping. You never know where those branches will lead.
That is so cool. If this deep dive is giving you ideas, hit that like button and share it with other entrepreneurs in your world. Why not?
Now, this goes hand in hand with passion, purpose. It's not just some, trendy word. It's about having a mission, something that drives your business and attracts the right people, your team, your customers.
So it's that why behind everything you're doing, why you're even doing this.
Exactly. Think about those late nights, grinding away, purpose. That's what makes those sacrifices feel worthwhile. You're building something bigger than just yourself. And that purpose might lead you to collaborate with others, people who share that same vision.
Right, that makes sense. Speaking of collaboration, let's talk about co-founders. It's a business marriage, right? You're in it for the long haul.
It really is. And you've got to find someone who supports you, but also challenges you to think differently. One entrepreneur even has this test to see if their potential co-founder is ethical, has good values. They ask them to imagine having an amazing life for 40 years, wealth, luxury, everything you ever wanted. But at the end of it, everyone finds out you're a fraud. And then they ask, would you take that deal?
Whoa, that's a tough one.
It really tells you a lot about a person, their values. And when you're picking a co-founder, finding someone who's morally aligned with you, that's so important.
Totally agree. So you've got your passion, your purpose, maybe a co-founder. What's next?
Okay, well, even with the best product or service, you got to know how to sell it. But don't worry, it doesn't have to be all pushy and salesy.
Yeah, for those of us who cringe at the thought of hard selling, what's the alternative?
It's about genuine relationships, really getting your customers' needs. One entrepreneur broke it down like this. First, ask yourself, does this person actually need what I'm offering? Second question, do I actually like this person? If it's a yes to both, then you move to step 3, the deal.
So it's about trust, making sure everyone wins.
Exactly. When there's a real connection, the deal, it kind of just flows naturally.
Love that. Okay, so you've built these great relationships. How do you get the word out about your amazing business? Marketing time.
These entrepreneurs, they make it fun. One of them actually used, get this, a staircase, like a real physical staircase in their product launch.
For the rest of us who aren't building staircases, what's fun marketing look like?
It's about picking strategies that you actually enjoy doing. If you're a writer, go all in on content marketing, emails, maybe even write a book, natural storyteller, video content, podcasts, that's your jam. And don't forget, word of mouth, it's powerful stuff. Happy customers are your best ads.
Absolutely. Find what works for you. Speaking of reaching people, let's talk about PR.
It's not about chasing headlines, it's about getting coverage that brings real results.
So how do we do that? Make PR work for us?
Target the right journalists, the publications that fit your audience and industry. Make it super easy for them to cover you. Give them a well-written press release, good images, and most importantly, a story that grabs them.
Yeah, and build relationships with those journalists. Engage with them on social media, comment on their articles. Keep it professional, though.
Definitely. Your online presence, that's part of your brand. All right, let's talk about something that's a bit of a hurdle for new businesses. Funding.
Yes, the dreaded F word. It can be intimidating, especially when you're starting out.
These entrepreneurs had some great advice, though. First, look at your network. Family, friends, they can be great for early stage funding. Just be honest with them about the risks involved.
Right. And I love this idea. Bring on team members as investors.
Exactly. It aligns everyone's goals. Everyone wins together. And when you're talking to angel investors, don't just focus on the money. Talk about how they can help your business with their experience, their connections. Don't rule out clients or brand partners either. They might be willing to invest if it benefits them too.
So many options. Be resourceful.
Right. And don't forget about sponsorship. Find brands that share your values and approach them with a win-win partnership idea. You might be surprised at the doors that opens.
Great tips. If you're finding this helpful, hit that like button and share this deep dive with your network.
All right, let's move on to something crucial for any business that wants to last. Branding.
It's more than just a logo, right?
It's the essence of your business. What makes you different? What you stand for.
So where do we even start with that?
Start with your personal values. What's important to you? What makes you unique? That forms the basis for your company brand. Be yourself, be authentic, and your brand will reflect that. And don't be afraid to say no to things that don't align with your brand, even if it means missing out on some quick cash.
That's tough, but important to stay true to yourself.
Definitely. All right, now let's talk about building a team, because you can't do it all alone, right?
Hiring the right people is huge. It can seriously make or break a business.
It's about more than just skills. It's about culture. Hire people who believe in your purpose, who share your values. One entrepreneur even suggested giving your team equity in the business. Gives them ownership, loyalty.
Oh yeah, they're all in on the success then.
Exactly. And as your company grows, you might need to change your leadership style. What worked when it was just you and a couple people might not work when you've got a whole team.
So true. We're all right.
Always learning. And speaking of growth, think big. Don't limit yourself. Think global.
World domination. Here we come.
Why not? Consider franchising. It's a great way to scale your business without all the operational headaches. And building a big business, sometimes it's actually easier than a small one. You've got more resources, more people.
That's inspiring. Don't limit yourself.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears and talk about mentorship and coaching. Having someone to guide you on this journey, it's so valuable.
Absolutely. But finding the right mentor can be tough.
That's why you should think about hiring a coach instead. They can give you personalized advice and help you stay accountable to your goals.
Like a personal trainer for your business.
Exactly. They can really help you clarify your vision, stay focused, and grow faster.
Great tip. Now, this might seem early to talk about, but what about an exit strategy?
It's never too early to think about the future. Ask yourself, what's the end goal for this business? Do you want to hand it off to your team one day? Sell it to a big company? Go public. Having a vision for the future, it helps you make better decisions today.
That makes a lot of sense.
And one last piece of advice, build a business you love, not just one you want to sell.
That's beautiful. Passion always shines through.
It does.
Welcome back to our deep dive. Before we jump into the next set of insights, let's talk about something that's part of the journey, but we don't always like to acknowledge it. Failure.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Every entrepreneur, we all face setbacks. It's inevitable. It's not even if you'll fail, it's when.
So how do we deal with those setbacks without letting them derail everything?
Well, these entrepreneurs, they really emphasize embracing failure, actually learning from it. One of them even said their current success came after losing £1 million on a previous business.
Wow, $1 million. That's a tough one to bounce back from.
It is, but the point is, it's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning. Think of it like failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the path.
So how do we get that kind of resilience?
Detach yourself from the outcomes. Don't let every win or loss define you. And your ego, don't let it get in the way. Be okay with making decisions that might not look cool right now, but they build something truly valuable.
I think that's tough for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially with social media. Everyone's trying to look perfect.
It's true. It's easy to get caught up in that, but sometimes you gotta look like a loser while you're building something amazing. Think about Amazon back in the day. Bezos, selling books online. People thought it was crazy, but he stuck with it.
It's playing the long game, not getting distracted by those short-term wins.
Exactly. And you know what can help you stay focused on that long-term vision? Our friend, the mind map.
Oh yeah, we talked about it earlier, but I love that tool. How can we use it to, really guide our strategy?
It's actually pretty simple. You start by putting your passion right smack in the middle of the page. That's the heart of it all. Then you draw branches out, different parts of your business, revenue streams, partnerships, marketing, challenges, and each branch you add details. For example, under revenue streams, you might have product sales, services, online courses. You get the idea.
So it's visual, you can see how it all connects.
Exactly. You might even discover things you wouldn't have thought of otherwise. One entrepreneur, through mind mapping, they stumbled upon a whole candy business.
If you're finding this deep dive helpful, don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your entrepreneurial friends. All right, let's go back to purpose for a minute. It's such a key ingredient for any business that wants to thrive.
Yeah, it's more than just a buzzword. It's the driving force, the why behind everything you do.
It's figuring out what problem you want to solve, right? Like what impact you want to make.
Yes. Think about those late nights you're going to have working on this business. A strong purpose. That's what makes it all worthwhile. And that purpose might even lead you to collaborate with others, build something together.
That makes sense. Okay, let's move on to something that I think a lot of people struggle with, sales.
It can be tough, but it doesn't have to be all sleazy and pushy. One entrepreneur shared a 3-step process that really resonated with me. First, you got to ask yourself, does this person actually need what I'm offering? And be honest. If the answer is no, move on. Don't waste time trying to convince someone who isn't a good fit.
That's a good point. Be selective. What's the second step?
This one's important too. Ask yourself, do I genuinely like this person?
So you want to build relationships with people you actually enjoy.
Exactly. And if you can answer yes to both of those questions, then you can move to step 3, the deal. But notice how the deal is the last step.
I love that. It takes the pressure off, right? It becomes more about connecting with the right people.
Exactly. If you've built that trust, that genuine connection, the deal, it often just happens naturally.
It's more about serving than selling.
Well said. When you focus on providing value, sales, it just becomes a natural part of that process.
And don't forget the long game. Building those lasting relationships, that's what ultimately leads to success.
Okay, so we've talked about sales. Let's talk about getting the word out there. Marketing.
Yes. Let's get creative. I loved how these entrepreneurs emphasize making marketing fun and authentic. One of them even built an actual staircase for a product launch.
Talk about making a statement. And while we may not all be building staircases, the point is to find ways to market your business that you actually enjoy, things that play to your strengths. Love writing. Great. Focus on content marketing, email newsletters, heck, maybe even write a book. If you're a natural storyteller, maybe video content or podcasts are your thing.
And word-of-mouth marketing, it's still so powerful.
Absolutely. Happy customers, they're your best marketing team.
Okay, so we've covered sales and marketing. What about PR?
PR. It can be a bit of a mystery, but it doesn't have to be. It's not about just getting your name in the headlines. It's about getting coverage that actually helps your business grow.
So how do we do that? Make PR work for us.
It starts with targeting the right journalists, the right publications. Do your research, figure out who aligns with your industry, your audience, your brand. And remember, journalists are busy people. Make their lives easier by giving them everything they need. A well-written press release, high-resolution images, and most importantly, a compelling story.
Right, and build those relationships.
Yeah.
Engage with them on social media. Comment on their articles, share your insights. Just always keep it professional.
Your online presence is a reflection of your brand. All right, let's move on to something that can feel like a big hurdle, especially for new businesses. Funding.
Funding. It can be scary, but these entrepreneurs, they had some great advice.
They really did. They talked about being resourceful, exploring all the options. Start with your network. Family and friends, they can be a great source of early stage funding. Just be upfront with them about the risks involved.
Right, and I love this idea.
Yeah.
Bring on team members as investors.
It's such a smart move. It aligns everyone's interests. And when you're approaching angel investors, don't just focus on the money. Talk about how they can add value to your business.
Yeah.
Their expertise, their network. And clients and brand partners, they could be potential investors too.
So many possibilities.
Exactly. And sponsorships too. Finding brands that share your values and then approaching them with a clear partnership idea that benefits both of you, that can open doors to funding and some really valuable collaborations.
That is such good advice. If you're finding this deep dive helpful, don't forget to give it a like and share it with your network. All right, let's move on to a really crucial element for any business that wants to stand the test of time. Branding. We touched on it earlier, but it's more than just a logo, right? It's deeper than that.
Way deeper. It's the essence of your business, what sets you apart from everyone else.
So where do you even begin with building a brand?
Start with you. What are your values? What makes you unique? That's the foundation of your company brand. Be authentic, be true to yourself, and your brand will reflect that. And as you're building your brand, don't be afraid to say no to opportunities that don't align with your values, even if it means missing out on some quick money.
It can be tough to turn down money, but sometimes it's necessary to stay true to your vision.
It is. All right, let's talk about building a team because as entrepreneurs, we can't do it all alone, right?
Definitely not. Hiring the right people is so important, it can make or break your business.
It's true. It's not just about finding people with the right skills, it's about finding people who are a good fit for your culture, who believe in what you're doing. And one entrepreneur even suggested offering team members equity in the business, gives them ownership.
Brilliant. They're really invested in the success of the business then.
Exactly. And as your company grows, you'll need to adapt as a leader too. What worked when it was just you and a few people might not work when you have a whole team.
That's a great reminder. We're always learning, right? Always evolving.
Absolutely. And speaking of growth, think bigger.
Yeah.
Don't limit yourself, think global.
World domination. I like the sound of that.
I hear you. And franchising is a great way to scale your business without having to handle all the operations yourself. And building a big business can actually be easier than running a small one sometimes. You have more resources, a bigger team.
That's inspiring. It's a reminder to dream big, don't hold back.
Right. All right, now let's switch gears and talk about mentorship and coaching. Having someone to guide you on your journey, it can be so valuable.
I agree. But finding the right mentor can be tough sometimes.
You might even consider hiring a coach instead. They can provide more personalized guidance and hold you accountable to your goals.
Like a personal trainer for your business.
Exactly. A coach can help you get clarity on your vision, stay focused, and move forward faster.
That's a great tip.
Sure.
Okay, now this might seem a bit early to talk about, but exit strategy.
It might seem early, but it's never too soon to think about the future of your business. What are your long-term goals? Do you want to pass it on to your team one day, sell it to a bigger company, or even go public? Having that vision in mind helps you make better decisions today.
Makes sense. And one last piece of advice. Build a business you love, not just one you want to sell.
Oh, I love that. When you're passionate about what you're doing, it shows, and it makes the whole journey that much more rewarding.
Okay, before we wrap up part 2, I want to revisit something we talked about earlier, embracing failure.
Yeah, it's so important for entrepreneurs. Failure, setbacks, challenges, they're all part of the process.
So how do we handle those inevitable bumps in the road without letting them, completely knock us off course?
These entrepreneurs, they emphasize the importance of learning from your mistakes. Instead of viewing failure as something bad, reframe it as a valuable learning experience. One entrepreneur even talked about having a library of failures, like a collection of lessons learned from past mistakes.
I love that. Turning those failures into something positive.
Exactly. It's all about shifting your perspective. Failure isn't the end, it's a stepping stone.
And let's not let our egos get in the way.
Oh, that's a big one. Be willing to make decisions that might not make you look cool or successful in the short term, but they're the right decisions for the long-term vision.
It's about playing the long game, not letting those short-term setbacks define you.
Exactly. And speaking of long-term vision, let's talk about a tool that can help you stay focused on that bigger picture, the mind map.
We've mentioned it a few times, but it's so helpful. How can we use a mind map to actually guide our business strategy?
Think of it as a way to visualize your business, to see the big picture. Start with your passion, write it down in the center of a blank page. That's your core, your heart. Then branch out from there, representing different aspects of your business. Revenue streams, potential partnerships, marketing strategies, challenges you might face. And as you explore each branch, get more specific. Add sub-branches with details, like under revenue streams. You might have product sales, services, online courses. You get the idea.
It's a visual brainstorm. I love it.
It is. And you know what? One entrepreneur, they discovered a whole new venture, a candy business, just through mind mapping.
You really never know where those branches will lead you.
Okay, let's shift gears for a minute and talk about purpose. It's something we've touched on before, but it's such a crucial foundation for building a successful business.
It's the driving force behind everything you do. It's the why behind the what.
It's about figuring out why you're doing this, right? Like what problem you want to solve, what impact you want to make.
Exactly. Those late nights, the challenges you'll inevitably face, having a strong purpose, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
So how do we figure out our purpose?
It starts with asking yourself some basic questions. What are you passionate about? What problem do you want to solve? What kind of change do you want to see in the world? What impact do you want to have? Once you have a good understanding of your purpose, it'll guide every decision you make in your business, from the products you offer, to the people you hire, to the partners you choose.
And remember, you don't have to do it all alone. Find your people. Connect with others who share your passion, who inspire you, and collaborate. Build something together.
That makes sense. Okay, let's move on to a topic that can be a bit scary for some people, sales.
The dreaded S word. But it doesn't have to be scary. One entrepreneur we learned from shared a 3-step process that I think takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah.
The first step is to ask yourself, does this person actually need what I'm offering? Be honest. If the answer is no, move on.
Don't waste your time trying to convince someone who's not a good fit.
Exactly. The second step is just as important. Do I genuinely like this person?
So it's about building relationships with people you actually enjoy working with.
Exactly. And if you can answer yes to both of those questions, then and only then do you move on to step 3, the deal.
I love that framework. The deal is the last step.
It should be. It's all about building trust, making sure it's a win-win situation.
And thinking long-term, building those lasting relationships, not just chasing quick wins.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about marketing. This is one of my favorite topics.
Mine too. I loved how these entrepreneurs talked about making marketing fun and authentic. One of them even built a staircase for their product launch. Can you imagine?
Talk about a memorable marketing campaign. Now, we may not all be building staircases, but the takeaway is to find marketing strategies that you actually enjoy, things that play to your strengths. Love to write.
Yeah.
Great. Focus on content marketing, emails, maybe write a book. If you're a natural storyteller, maybe video or podcasts are your thing.
And word-of-mouth marketing, it's still one of the most powerful tools out there.
Absolutely. Happy customers, they're your best advocates.
Okay, let's talk about PR. It can feel a bit mysterious, but it doesn't have to be.
It really doesn't. It's not about chasing headlines. It's about getting coverage that helps your business grow.
So how do we make PR work for us?
Target the right people. Do your research. Figure out which journalists and which publications align with your industry, your target audience, and your brand. And remember, journalists are busy people. Make it easy for them. Give them a well-written press release, high-quality images, and a compelling story.
And build relationships with them, engage on social media, comment on their articles. Just remember to keep it professional.
Your online presence is an extension of your brand.
Now let's talk about something that can be intimidating, especially for new businesses: funding.
It doesn't have to be scary, though. These entrepreneurs had some great tips for navigating the world of investors.
I'm all ears.
They stress the importance of being resourceful, exploring all your options. Start with your network. Family and friends can be great sources of early-stage funding. Just be transparent with them about the risks involved.
Right. And I love this idea. Bring on team members as investors.
Such a smart move. It aligns everyone's interests and gives your team skin in the game. And when you're approaching angel investors, remember to highlight what they bring to the table besides money, their expertise, their connections, and clients and brand partners can be potential investors too.
So many possibilities.
Exactly. And don't forget about sponsorships. Finding brands that share your values and approaching them with a win-win partnership proposition that can lead to funding and some really valuable collaborations.
That's great advice. If you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to give us a like and share it with your network.
Now let's move on to something essential for any business that wants to thrive: branding.
We touched on this before, but it's more than just a logo, right?
It's the heart and soul of your business. What makes you unique? What makes you stand out in the market?
Okay, so where do we even start with branding?
Start with yourself. What are your personal values? What makes you different? Those are the building blocks of your company's brand. Be authentic. Be true to who you are, and your brand will reflect that. And as you build your brand, remember that it's okay to say no to opportunities that don't align with your values.
Even if it means leaving money on the table.
Sometimes you have to. Protecting your brand's integrity is more important than a quick buck.
Okay, let's talk about building a team, because none of us can do it alone.
Right. No way. And hiring the right people is crucial. It's not just about finding people with the right skills. It's about finding people who fit your culture, who believe in your mission.
One entrepreneur even suggested giving team members equity in the company, which is a great way to foster loyalty and a sense of ownership.
It is. They're all in, invested in the success of the company. And remember, as your company grows, you might need to change your leadership style. What worked when it was just you and a few people might not be as effective when you have a larger team.
It's so true. We're always learning and adapting, right?
Always. And speaking of growth, don't limit yourself to your current market. Think bigger, think global.
World domination.
Exactly. And franchising can be a really great way to scale your business without having to manage all of the operations yourself. And sometimes building a bigger business can actually be easier than running a small one. You have more resources, a bigger team.
It's a good reminder to dream big and not hold back.
Right. Now let's switch gears and talk about mentorship and coaching. Having someone to guide you on your journey can be so valuable.
It really can. It's like having someone in your corner who's been there, done that.
Exactly. And you might consider hiring a coach. They can provide that personalized guidance and hold you accountable to your goals. It's like having a personal trainer, but for your business.
I love that analogy, a personal trainer for your business.
A coach can help you clarify your vision, stay focused, and really accelerate your progress.
Okay, let's talk about something that might seem a little premature, but it's good to start thinking about it early on. Your exit strategy.
It's never too early to think about the future of your business. Ask yourself, what do I want this business to look like in 5 years, 10 years? What are my long-term goals? Do you want to eventually pass it on to your team? Sell it to a bigger company? Go public? Having that vision in mind helps you make better decisions today.
That makes sense. Plan for the future. And one last piece of advice. Build a business that you love, not just one that you want to sell. Let that passion shine through.
I couldn't agree more.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We covered a ton, from finding your passion to building a team to even thinking about that exit strategy. But let's wrap up with something that's crucial in business and really in life. Mindset.
Couldn't agree more. These entrepreneurs, they were all about having a growth mindset, believing in yourself and not giving up even when things get rough. One of them talked about how when they were a kid, they were always asking their parents questions, and the answer was always, you know the answer. So they learned to figure things out for themselves, trust their gut.
That's a great way to build that self-reliance, believe in your ability to solve problems.
Exactly. And it ties into another thing they all emphasized, taking risks. Disrupt yourself, one of them said. Don't get comfortable, be willing to shake things up, try new things, even if it means changing how you do business.
So embrace change. Be okay with a little uncertainty.
Exactly. But, this can all feel a bit overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out. So how do you build that fearless mindset?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It starts with believing in yourself, in your vision. Don't let those doubts hold you back. And remember, success isn't linear. It's going to be messy. There'll be ups and downs.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. Enjoy the ride. Celebrate the small wins and learn from those setbacks. Remember the library of failures we talked about?
Yeah, love that idea.
Right.
Turn those failures into lessons.
Right. And don't forget, you don't have to do this alone. Find your people, build a support system, mentors, advisors, other entrepreneurs who get it.
Find your tribe, people who inspire you, challenge you, and are there for you when things get tough.
And most importantly, have fun. Building a business should be enjoyable.
So true. If you're not passionate about it, it's going to show. Find the joy in the process, and the success will follow.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, I think that wraps up our deep dive into launching your dream business.
We've covered so much. Passion, purpose, branding, funding, team building, even exit strategy. We talked about mindset, resilience, finding the fun in it all.
If you're feeling inspired, ready to take action, that's what we were hoping for.
Building a business, it's a journey, not a sprint. Embrace the challenges, celebrate the wins, and never stop learning.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, please give us a like and share it with other entrepreneurs out there. Let's spread the inspiration.
Who knows, you might just spark the next big idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.